percent. We have got 4 featured runners today. We've got about 30 or so people running overall tonight. And we've got Smapty, Simbu, Moonblaze Wolf, and Kobahi all vying for a spot at the final table, along with many others. I'm Rex Raoul. I'm joined with DM Stuart. Stuart, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing all right. We're doing all right out here.
Excellent. So we've got reject percent tonight, and we've got a Porum start. Reject means that the characters who are not considered the top tier are the only ones that you get. So we've got Porum, we have Sid, we have Tella, we have Rydia, and we have Edward, everyone's favorite spoony bar. So here we go. We've got a lot. We've got a lot going on. We got a lot of nice colors that our featured runners have decided to put in, and so that's great. And we've got looks like Simbu is putting in some fun names as well. We're just getting everything ready to start. What are you looking forward to seeing tonight, Stuart?
Well, given that it's Dikembe Mutombo percent, I'm looking forward to seeing strategies we don't ordinarily see.
Yeah, I think that's something good. Yeah. Danable Lecter in the chat, Rydia considered reject percent. I know it's sad, but her HP grows so slow. It takes a long time for her to learn nuke. That's why she's putting it here. But she gets pretty useful in this flag set. So hopefully we'll get to see a lot of Rydia tonight. And hopefully I'll get to opine about how much I love the Sylph Summon, because I do.
Yes, especially since we're on J spells, that makes it even worse as far as spell growth and hit point growth. Not necessarily hit point growth, but spell growth.
Yeah, it makes it. I believe it's level 54 or 55 for Rydia to learn nuke, and that's a pretty useful spell. So considering it's probably the preferred spell against Zermus if you're going to be using Slinging Magic there. It looks like our runners are off, so we'll get to see who our second character is, and we've got a Sid. And the pan is the first key item, so that'll be nice for when the runners have underground access. But here's hoping that the underground access is going to be through the hook and not the magma key.
Nothing is more satisfying than the sound of the pan striking flesh.
Oh, that is definitely true. I mean, the only thing that comes close is the sound of Porum's fist hitting her brother's head.
Well, that's valid.
Yeah. So one of the things in this is we do have T4, so that's the best items are available in chests. You could get even an adamant armor in just a random chest. So we're going to see a lot of looting. It looks like all of the featured runners are heading straight to Baron. We see Tella is the character in the Baron Inn.
And it's a lunar boss there. We also get a silver apple out of Baron Inn, so that's always nice.
Yeah, considering we're rolling with characters who don't have great HP growth, finding these apples can be very useful for getting that final boost of HP.
And a gold apple out of Rose's house.
Yeah. So this will make it easier for Porum and Rydia and Edward to survive the big bangs that Zermus can throw out at the end of the run.
It's going to be a tough one for me because I'm usually on the why would you ever want Edward around train.
Yeah, and this time you sometimes have to make do. If you don't like Edward, sometimes you still have to roll with him. Simbu, I think per his normal, it did not check the water in Baron, so gets to head off and loot the next place earlier and heads to Damsian. Finds a crystal sword, which would be nice if Cecil was an available character, but in this, at least you could sell it for a lot of money.
Yeah, that's. I mean, this flag set is going to be a complete new experience for me. I'm used to. I run not flag sets like this.
SVB guy in the chat asking, does this have Edward Spoon flag? Indeed it does. So if we do find the spoon, Edward is just like a wrecking ball. goes through everything with physical attacks. So we'll be looking for that if we find an Edward.
And we've got Simbu checking Antlion Cave. We'll see what boss is down there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of chests in there again for the T4. You want to get these chests early so you get the money to buy the items in the shops and get the equipment to make these reject characters a bit more powerful. We'll be looking for... Go ahead.
And just to add a little bit more insult to injury, we are running on no free lunch.
Oh yeah. So
you don't get those free characters. You don't get that free key item from Bedward.
Yeah, you've got to actually work for everything you get in this set. So yeah, ideally we're going to be looking for something like a Stardust Rod for your Rydia, a white robe, and a life staff for your Porum, a tiara for your Rydia, like maybe a rune axe or an Artemis bow for Sid, another Artemis bow or the spoon for Edward. Tella, go either way.
They find a white spear. Again, would be great if Kane were available, but at this point it's just sell to fund your run. And that is a dark elf at Antlion Spot.
Yeah, like almost any boss in the Antlion Spot, it shouldn't be too tough, especially with Sid. Sid is of all the characters we've got, Sid is the one who provides the most offense just straight out of the gate. So early bosses shouldn't be too much of a problem for this team. And we did see in the save room in Antlion, there was a Dragon Whip, which is another way that you can go with Rydia. She can equip that Heroine robe and use the Dragon Whip to do quite a bit of damage if you want to make her a fighter instead of a spell slinger.
Well, and I think that may be the way that with this character list, that may be the way you've got to go with Rydia.
Yeah, it kind of depends on if you find a good summon, then you might want to tweak her so that her magic power is higher. And if you don't, that Dragon Whip will definitely be a way that you can make her useful as well. Once she becomes an adult, she can also equip the Zeus Gauntlet for more strength. And the Dragon Whip is good for a couple of the grinds that people like to do. The egg grind.
We have a Wyvern. We have a Wyvern on Mount Hobbs.
We do, but it shouldn't be as scary as normal. We do have the Wyvern flag on, which means the opening Mega Nuke is disabled. It still could be tough. As long as Sid can deal enough damage before everyone gets nuked out, they should be able to be okay, but if not, this could still be tough. But I bet the runners will want to have Rydia in their party if they can. So we see them like actually trying to fight this instead of just resetting out with, if you look at Simbu up on the upper right hand side. But then eventually that reset does come in. That is a tough one. We'll see if he adjusts his setup and tries again, or just forgoes it for now. And yeah, not worth it seems like.
Well, I think you come back when you get a little bit more survivability there.
Yeah, more survivability or more offense. Because if you can just deal enough damage fast enough, that might be all that you need. I mean, those nukes are going to be tough for a while, especially for your Porum. You might be able to get enough hit points for Sid to survive a nuke, but everybody else, it's going to be tough. And we are seeing Kobahi trying to make use of that Dragon Whip. See if that can hit before...
and the boss at Fabul Gauntlet is Yang, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah, well, he is a native.
It's a little disappointing because I was hoping for Yang I was hoping for Yang as back attack boss on Mount Ordeals.
Oh, well, we just saw that one last night, so.
Yeah, well, kick around the world never gets old.
But it's like even that level 1 Rydia with that Dragon Whip is doing almost 400 damage to the Wyvern, so it does a lot of damage there, but it's still. It looks like that Wyvern is just outspeeding the party, is not going to be able to do enough damage before it nukes everybody down.
Yeah, it's going too fast. Which it'd be nice to get. It'd be nice to be able to get that Rydia right away, but I mean, if you can't, you can't.
Right. I mean, she'll always be available, but Spapety, able to make do, was able to get all the life ones and deal enough damage, and will be rewarded with Rydia. So well played by Spapety there.
Do you take Rydia over to the other side of Mount Hobbs?
Yeah, that's definitely an option. Like, now, the fact that we already have a Dragon Whip might make it so that it's not as necessary. I've already got a way to make her useful. However, it could be something, an option that our runners would have, and we'll see if they want to give her a random summon.
But yeah, I mean, if I can get, say a Bahamut summon or a Leviathan summon, yeah, I want to do that. Even though I know I won't be able to use it very well, even though I know I won't be able to use it right away, it's still not a bad thing to get.
Well, I believe Bahamut and Leviathan are not possible out of there, but the rest of them, it could be. It looks like Smithy is going there. By the way, the reward for completing Fabul was the Magma Keys, so we don't have a hook seed tonight. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy one.
We still might have to get a hook. And it's an Odin summon.
Well, we might need the hook for something like the Rat Tail, but we don't need to go through Upper Battle this time. Well, unless there's that odd situation where the D-Mist could be there. So there's always a possibility. That D-Mist is always out there in these no pre-lunch flags. So. Now that Odin summon is useful on a couple of bosses, but not a ton of them.
Always a disappointment when you see that be the summon you get.
Yeah, there are some uses for it, of course, but yeah, I think you'd rather. Well, if it's me, of course, I'd rather see Sylph, but even something like a Shiva can sometimes be a bit more useful. But at least we do have that Dragon Whip.
And we've gotten several high-end weapons that we can just sell off to get awfully nice, to be able to buy awfully nice equipment.
Yeah, that is one of the upsides of the T4 on this. There's a lot of items that you just know you have got no use for, so you might as well sell them. Whereas in other flag sets, you get that Excalibur, you get that Ninja Sword, and you're like, well, I better save it, because if I get Edge or Cecil, I'm gonna want these characters.
Kind of like a seed I was playing this morning, where I got a bunch of crystal gear real early, and no sign of Cecil.
It looks like two of our runners, Simbu and Kobahi, are cashing in their magma keys. Going to go ahead and start checking out the underworld.
And I knew as soon as I sold off the crystal gear, the next character I ran into was going to be Cecil.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's... I think everybody who randos gets situations like that. Now Simbu activates the magma key, but looks like has some more shopping to do before heading to the underground. We'll see if Kobahi heads straight underground here. And yeah, he does, yeah.
And he's headed for... what is this town name? Tomara.
Tomra, my favorite town in the game. We'll find silk webs, a very useful item for the last fight. And this room that Kabahi's about to loot has a dwarf that has a randomized occupation if you talk about. Simbu, meanwhile, went underground and went to the dwarf castle first, found a very important item, found the pass in the shop there. And that's going to be... That's one of the two ways that you can use to get to Zeramis. So that's a very important item. And now if...
Kabahi heading down toward Feymarch.
Yeah. So if Simbu finds the crystal, Simbu's in go mode.
Okay, so let's explain the other half of this. The other half of this seed type, K1.5.
Right. So K1.5, or as that's what it's called on the title. If you see on the flags, we have KM. So that's the regular key item locations plus the moon bosses. But interestingly enough, why it's 1.5 and not 2 is the summoned monsters are not a part of it. So don't need to worry about going down to Ashura Leviathan. Unless, of course, that's where D-Mist is hiding this time.
So not what we saw last night with Crystal being on CPU in Asura Leviathan spot.
Yeah, if they find CPU down there, they don't even think about it. And the fact that there's no D-Mist down there means don't need to fight these fights at all. And so Kobahi checks, leaves, doesn't have to go back there ever again.
I didn't notice who it was.
I believe it was King and Queen of Eblin was one of them, and I didn't see the other one. I saw it, but I think it was a blue hood.
Okay, blue hood, that's either Mylon...
it's either the Water Hag... No, Water Hag or the Fabul Gauntlet. But if I saw it correctly. I think it was a blue hood, but I'm not 100% sure. Kabahi was in and out of there rather quickly.
Then which one's Mylon Z? Is that Red Hood?
Purple Hood is Mylon Z. Red Hood is the Dark Imps. Looks like Kobahi wants to crack an egg. Get a few levels on his Porum and Sid.
Well, again, that's not a bad choice.
It looks like the free key item in the Feymarch was the Tanned Ruby. So we've got another character here.
That opens up the character in Kaipo. Not that I'm terribly excited about any of the characters.
Well, I think what makes these characters interesting is, I think, like the most upside is almost certainly Edward. But if you don't find that spoon, he's almost, well, he might be the worst, but Tella might be the worst too, depending on what you're trying to do.
And Kobahi and Simbu both smack Yang in the face with Pan.
Now, if this was a full K2, that would have been a potential key item right there as one of the summon quest bosses, but that doesn't count this time. But it is a sorcerer robe, which is something that both Porum, Rydia, or Tella could use pretty well. So it's a very useful piece of equipment.
And Kabahi goes back to. Kabahi goes over to Kaipo to see that there's nothing useful in the shop, and then go and use that sand ruby.
Yeah,
Simbu, on the other hand, is going over to turn in the Yang in the underground, and Yang Pan gets a Murasame, which is sales fodder, and a ribbon.
Now, a ribbon is another very useful item, especially for the spellcasters. Kobahi picks up Rydia in Kaipo, so we've got access to 2 Rydias so far, in the one in Mount Hobbs and one in Kaipo. So if it becomes useful to grind her up all the way, having 2 characters who could cast Nuke for that final fight could be very useful indeed.
Agreed.
Plus, we already have Porum who can cast White. We might be looking at a full Reflect strategy for the final fight, and have Sid be the guy who just throws Cure 3s and Elixirs as necessary. That's a very viable strategy in this flag set for the final boss.
And maybe Zerk Edward to hack away with spoons.
If you find a spoon, then we might do a hybrid of physical or Berserker Reflect. And if you don't find them, then it might be full Reflect. So, depending on who we find, could be very different strategies.
We've got Simbu up here fighting an Ogopogo.
Yeah, I believe this is the Baron Inn.
Yes, that is Baron Inn.
Oh, and lucky to find the Dark Imps as the second fight here. That's going to be very easy. Can be used almost any status effect, any item on them. They're susceptible to pretty much everything. So they'll go down pretty quickly. And then Simbu's going to add Tella to his roster. And it looks like Kabahi is heading back over to Mount Hobbs, going to make another play against that Wyvern and get a second Rydia in his party. Meanwhile, Moonblaze Wolf in the Fey March picks up his Sand Ruby, and we'll have access to that Rydia. And Smapety finding a lot of useful items. Starvale back as Cure 3s in the shop. So, very useful shop in that Fey March. And with that egg cracked, now Kabahi has a lot more firepower, able to take it.
We get a darkness crystal out of Baron Inn.
Yeah, so now Simbu has access, because we do have the moon bosses in play, so Simbu might be... We'll see how early Simbu or any of our other runners decide to make the run up to the moon to check to see if the crystal's up there.
And it is a blue hood down there, so it is either Fabul Gauntlet or
the Water Hag. And we do, if I recall correctly, the first boss in the Baron Inn was another blue, so that's where the other one of those would be. Looks like Simbu, now that he's got Tella in the party, there's a lot more incentive for him to climb up Mount Ordeals.
No, second boss in... boss in Baron Castle. Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, this is going to give Simbu access. Now, this is an interesting play by Simbu, because he's got that Darkness Crystal. The Mount Ordeals is sometimes considered a it's a slow grind because there's 3 bosses that you have to fight there and a cutscene, and you can't use exit when you're done. So a lot of runners tend to avoid there if possible. However, the fact that you have Tella in the party, uh, if you go through there, he gains all his spells. And the other nice thing is this opens up another potential grind spot in the D machine fight in the Giant of Babel. And you really need Tella in this flag set if you're going to want to make that as your grind. So this will make sure that that option is open to Simbu. Meanwhile, Kobahi, trying to take advantage of another key item that found early, the Twin Harp, and is going to the Magnetic Cavern. So looks like we're going to be hearing some tunage tonight.
Yes.
So no matter who wins this race tonight, the hero of the people right now is Kobahi. Smapty is making the same play too, but Kobahi gets there first, so Kobahi gets the title in my mind.
Well, I think with Tella, I think when you pick up Tella, that makes going up ordeals the obvious play.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I think sometimes Simbu doesn't always make the obvious choice. So I wouldn't have been surprised if he just avoided it and headed up to the moon too. But I definitely understand this.
To answer Julicent in chat, it's not Mylon Z, it's the 4L.
All right, so now just about time to hear DJ Spoony B's Rockin' Tunes.
I wonder what it's going to be tonight.
I believe Mega Man 2?
Yes. And did I see correctly? Someone got a crystal?
Yeah, I focused a little bit on the music, but we can't bury the lead. Simbu did find the crystal on top of Mount Ordeals. So we've got go mode on Simbu's screen. So now the question is, what grind? Like, is Simbu gonna pick up any more characters? Right now he just has Porum, Sid, and Tella. He's got access to Iridia in Kaipo and Iridia on Hobbs. Is he gonna make those plays, or if he's just gonna grind with these 3? I imagine he's gonna pick up at least one Iridia.
Yeah, he's got to pick up Iridia.
And yeah, it looks like he's heading towards Kaipo.
And thank you, Dusty Griff, for subscribing.
Yeah, seeing as Dusty is just crushing free enterprise recently, it's very nice to see him support our channel.
What in the four that we've had so far, he's gone what 3 firsts and a second.
Something like that. He's been doing very well and won the qualifier earlier today as well.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me. He won last night's final table on what was that set called? What was that flag
League,
set called last
League
night?
Forge percent.
That's right, League Forge.
So yeah, it looks like Simbu now heading back up Mount Hobbs and picking up another Rydia. And then we'll see, like, the fact that he's got Tella, he's got the Darkness Crystal. This might be a D-Machine grind time. So that would be very fun if we get to see that, because that's a different grind than we've seen in a lot of these races. So that'll be interesting. Meanwhile, Moonblaze Wolf is also making that play up Mount Ordeals, so it's going to get his crystal very shortly as well.
See, I think I'm gonna get Sirens. I think if I'm Simbu right now, I'm going for Sirens. I'm going for Coffins, and I'm going to the three-step peninsula, and I'm grinding eggs.
That's another choice. I think if Simbu had 10 key items, I think I would definitely think Simbu might do that. Otherwise, there's also the Gold Dragon grind with hourglasses in either the Cave Bahamut. Probably Cave Bahamut is where they would do that. So those are kind of the three places that Simbu could choose from at this point to do the grind. So it's just going to be interesting to see what the decision is going to be. Yeah, our restreamer in Venerable saying the level 1 Rydia say D-Machine. That's what I'm leaning as well. That's my first gut, is to say that we'll see a D-Machine grind. However, Eggs, Gold Dragons, and D-Machine, all of them have their advantages.
We see Kobahi going up the Tower of Zot. Where did he find Earthquake?
The Earth Crystal was the reward for the Twin Harp.
Twin Harp.
Yeah, so going down that Twin Harp just leads down a rabbit hole that we know at this point is not the right one, but Smapety and Kobahi don't know that, so that's why they're making that. And I'm guessing that Smape is going to also, being in the Troya treasure vault right now, is probably going to follow up with heading up to Zod afterwards as well.
Well, if you're not in on the joke, it's not a bad play.
Yeah, I agree. I think, given the information that's in front of them, it was just like, do you make the play to Baron Inn, get Tella, and then go to Ordeals? That's one way you can go. Or you've got that Twin Harp that you got early. Is that going to be the play to go that route? So either way. About he finding Odin in the Mega Sister spot here in the Tower of Zot. Now Simbu is activating the big whale, so looks like probably gonna go either right to the here we go, right to the
going D-Machine.
Yeah, we're seeing a D-Machine grind here on Simbu's screen.
And Moonblaze taking out 4 elements and is going to get his crystal shortly.
Yeah. And so Moonblaze Wolf is going to have that same decision of where the grind is going to be very shortly as well. And we have Smape D learning the Sylph Summon. My hero. Smape D.
So I don't fully understand how the D-Machine grind works.
Okay, I'll go.
That's the other reason that I grind eggs.
That's fair enough. This is one that does require a little bit of practice. I will, if you want to know a lot more details about it, if you go to our Discord, there's a link to a video that our restreamer tonight in Venerable gave about how to read the chart for getting into the fight. So what we're going to see is Simbu is going to heal up, save, and is going to do a reset. And then is going to turn random encounters on. and is going to use a chart to determine once the reset happens whether or not the fight that he enters in is the grind fight or not. If it's not, the chart will tell like what he needs to do in order to get there. Eventually, he'll get into a fight with a searcher and 2 beamers, and once the beamers are gone, the searcher, whenever provoked, will summon a D machine. You kill the D machine. Ideally, you use a life potion or the life spell on it as it dies for the life glitch, and that counts as killing that D machine twice. You repeat this over and over and over again until you're either out of resources or you've done enough to. I think Invenerable said in the chat that it would be 12 D machines that you defeat.
To answer a question in chat from Zarubora, the hype crystal was at the top of Mount Ordeals.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but there was an important question in chat.
Yes. So you get those 12 kills, and that would be a combination of just raw kills and life glitches. And then at that point, Rydia should be level 55 and have nuke. So we'll see. It looks like he's not running immediately, but is resetting. So that might not have been the fight that he was looking for.
Well, he had gotten Searcher and 2 Beamers.
Yeah, but the thing is, not every Searcher Beamer fight is the D Machine fight. Sometimes when when you kill it, it'll be a Horseman fight, and that's not what you're looking for. You want that D Machine. So here's another Searcher Beamer, and we'll see if this... Meanwhile, Moonblaze Wolf is also going there. Simbu not happy with that one either. Now, it could be that he doesn't like the back attack and wants to get in a better position. Now, what makes the D Machine okay even at these low levels is really the only attack that you're going to see in this are beam from the beamers and fire from the D Machines. And all of these do a percentage of damage to your health. So even though Rydia only has 30 HP, she's just as the same danger of dying as Tella or Sid or anybody.
Okay, that's good to know. Oh yeah, it looks like it does 10% of health.
Exactly. So, and it looks like Simbu seems happy with this fight, so looks like might be in the fight that he's looking for. Meanwhile, Moonblaze Wolf following suit.
And yes, I do know about the slingshot in Venerable.
Yeah. So this is kind of an advanced grind, but it can definitely pay off if you practice it and learn how to use it. Yeah. An OTP lawyer saying all you need is weak. Weak is kind of the key spell because we've got really low level characters and the D Machine has a lot of HP, but it is susceptible to weak. So if you use weak on it, then it has just 10 or less single digits of HP. So even your little piddly characters can take it down.
And to answer Eternal Newbie in chat, you'll see what we mean by slingshot. You'll see what we mean after this fight.
Basically, lower level characters get an XP boost. And there we see the D Machine has arrived. Simbu has found the right fight. And so now it's just weak, kill, life potion, repeat.
And then repeat.
Yeah. Now, depending on how long it is, Tella has a very limited MP pool. So you're going to need to refresh his MP either with Ether 2s, Elixirs. The Psych spell can be useful sometimes. You also need to make sure to heal from time to time. Even though it is just a percentage, it's going to happen over and over and over again. So you're going to have to heal the characters eventually.
That percentage does add up.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what you're going to see here. And just so we mentioned it, the two characters at the top of Zot were another Porum and another Sid. So they're useful. I think Simbu and Blaze Wolf are going to be very happy with their party makeup, and wouldn't be surprised if they make no other changes after this grind and head straight to Zerans.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. In fact, that's the whole point of doing the grind fight after you hit go mode. And we see Kabahi down there in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, doing some looting. There are a lot of treasures in Castle at T4 that can definitely pay off sometimes. You never know where you can find an adamant armor in this flag.
Yeah, that's the one thing that might get me to do a little bit more exploration besides just going.
Yeah, that's the temptation. You know, like it could pay off big time, and if it doesn't, then it's like you just spend an extra minute looting a castle that didn't really help. So it's tough.
Okay, we have an answer. We have a question in chat. Is this grind, referring to D-Machine grind, easier than the egg grind, or is it the only one available? The egg grind is available, but I think this grind may give them more XP per minute.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Like I would definitely say that the egg grind is easier. Like you need to know how to, well, first how to find the fight, and then how to execute the fight. But if you're able to do it, it can pay off bigger with the D-Machine grind under the right situation. Like the D-Machine grind is a lot better for using that slingshot where you're going to get potentially double or triple experience on these low-level characters, like these Rydias and Simbu's party.
And once Simbu finishes off this fight, let's see just how far his Rydias have slingshot.
Looks like Smatey's doing some D-Mist hunting.
Now, the other question I've got is, do you take Rydia down to, do you go down and do Dwarf Castle? 57 levels.
Yeah.
Do you go down to Dwarf Castle and have your Rydia grow up?
I don't think there's any need for that at this point. She learns Nuke. That's basically all you need. Learning the level 2 elemental spells and the basic summons aren't really all that necessary at this point in the game. So yeah, that was a relatively fast fight. It might have been longer to find the fight. Like Simbu had a couple resets in there than it was actually to do the grind itself. So this is a very efficient fight if you know how to do it. So this was very well executed by Simbu. Got very high levels, and I think he's ready to fight Zeramus.
Well, this been a fairly fast seed so far.
1001 asking, is it just a matter of not having 10 key items? That's part of it. However, I don't think it's the only thing. I think even if it was 10 key items, it would be an even quicker fight in the D Machine grind in order to do it. I think with this party makeup, having access to those level 1 Rydias, just being able to do the D Machine grind was great. Now, if this was a longer seed and Simbu had to fight moon bosses, things like that beforehand, then it might not have been as good a choice to go in and do the D Machine grind. So different situations call for different grinds. The earlier qualifier today, I think most of the runners did an egg grind with less than 10 key items. So this is that just kind of shows you how it's different it is. Looks like Simbu is going to check the character on that. That's interesting. I thought he was just going to be ready to go, but...
Well, he might have decided to, since he was already in the... he might have decided since he already had the lunar whale, to just go, to take it and just go up to the moon.
He's going into the lunar subterrane.
Well, yeah, and walk down the long way.
Yeah, but he has the pass. Like, I think going back to the blue planet and going to Troy is going to be faster than making this walk. Maybe he didn't buy it. He definitely was in the shop that had it. He definitely went to Dwarf Castle, but I don't know if maybe he accidentally sold it.
You can't sell it. It's not sellable. And Simbu just taking the long walk down the lunar subterrane.
Yeah, Invenerable bringing up the point, maybe we'll be going into one grind fight to get somebody up to 28 agility, because that's 28 agility is kind of a magic number here in this fight. Having somebody in the middle position with 28 agility means that Zeramus will be at his lowest speed. But he's walking right past the floor where he can summon the gold dragons, so...
Well, there's other places you can summon gold dragons. And speaking of gold dragons, Smapety is in gold dragons.
Yeah, doing the grind now. Smapety's also going to get a slingshot on level 1 Rydia for this fight. The thing is, you only get it for the one fight instead of... Or you'll get the, with the life glitch, 3 gold dragons worth instead of the, something like, I think 12 D machines worth that Simbu got, so...
And we're just about, and Simbu is just about down to the Zeramus fight.
Yeah, so we get to ask, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Soft no mask. Anyone finished yet? We do not have a finish yet. So it might be Simbu. But we will see.
So, who all qualifies for the final table? I know it is the top. It's the top 2 in each qualifier race, plus 4 wild cards for high Z scores.
Exactly. Well, best Z scores, which are low.
Yeah,
but
low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, that's.
I grok statistics. I know I know how Z score actually works.
Yeah, but just in case anyone knows, a low Z score for people watching. But yeah, the guaranteed are going to be the first 2 finishers. And we've got a trap door.
It's trap door.
Yeah, we haven't seen the door grind in quite a while.
And Big Bang. Ouch.
All right, now we're starting to see those nukes get reflected. I think at this point, the Ridias are going to be reflecting nukes, and Sid is going to be throwing Tier 3 potions. That's, I think, going to be about it for the rest of the fight, but we'll see. Well, even Ridia throwing a Tier 3 here.
Now, that's the other thing I don't quite understand is how the Big Bang nerf works.
Well, on this, I don't think Simbu is nerfing them. Just taking the full power Big Bang. Ooh, and that's a rough high roll from that Big Bang and took out Rydia in the middle there. So, luckily with this black hole, you'll have a little bit of time to try to recover. But this is gonna be a tough one. Got the Star Veil up so we can continue reflecting the nukes. But I think in this particular situation, Simbu's plan is just to tank the Big Bangs and reflect the nukes, and that's about it.
And it looks like Kabahi may have found D-Mist in the Luge spot. We have a finisher. Penguinator has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 51:06.
So GG's to Penguinator will be represented at the final table. So yeah, Simbu now being able to reflect those nukes again. Ooh, here comes another Big Bang. This is going to be... I'm going to hope for a low roll on Sid. That is not a low roll, and everybody is dead. So Simbu's going to have to give this another shot. That was rough. Those were some pretty high rolls on that Big Bang. And now this is where not remembering that you have to pass, you come back to bite you, because now Simbu's going to have to walk all the way through that that lunar core again. See, Moonblaze Wolf doing something that I like to do in preparation for the Zero Miss fight. Adjust my spells so that I don't need to hunt for them in the middle of it.
Yes.
All right, here's take 2 for Simbu. And Moonblaze Wolf is going to be right behind. So this is going to be a really exciting finish for this, and see if Simbu's fight goes a little bit cleaner this time. If those rolls just aren't quite as harsh as they were that first time around, because those were some nasty high rolls on the big bangs.
To answer Penguinator, our first place finisher in chat, both Simbu and Moonblaze did D-Machine grind.
And Kabahi got the D-Mists down, so has a few more rabbit holes to check for heading towards Mount Ordeals. Ooh, Simbu getting a bit lucky. The counter nuke for the Silk hit the reflect on Rydia, so that's going to make this first part a lot easier. This first Big Bang will be nerfed, and don't have to deal about that with that nuke damage. So that's got to be a relief at the beginning of this fight for Simbu. Now, it does look like Moonblaze Wolf has at least one of his Rydias a bit higher level than Simbu does, so a little bit more wiggle room with one of them at least. Yeah, Danable Lecter, the Fab flag on the Free Enterprise is very fun when we get these nice color palettes.
Crew Whisperer, Tella went down. Who could have predicted this? Everyone.
We do have a second place finisher. Chokosura finished in second place at 55 minutes and 54 seconds. So Chokosura is guaranteed a spot at the final table for the reject result. So GG's there.
Oh wow, Chokosura. I'm shocked. Shocked. We have a third place finisher, Swimmy Leone. 56-32. Much like blanked on his name. We were talking about earlier that's just destroyed. That's just been destroying everything. Chokosura has been right up there with him.
Well, Chokosura is a great racer. That's no doubt. Still a bit of an unfortunate high roll. That second Big Bang from Simbu. But one of the Rydias stays up. So the recovery isn't going to be nearly as difficult from this one as it was in the previous fight.
Kobahi doing an egg grind.
Yeah, now Kobahi wouldn't have had that slingshot effect. So, and I believe has the 10 key items. So the egg grind seems to fit what he needs a bit more than the D machines. At the time when Blaze Wolf had gotten to go mode, the D machine just seemed a bit more profitable for them.
And
Ooh, that's tough, but we'll see if Simbu can, like, it might just be 1 or 2 nukes away if we could get those off before. It looks like we do. There's the flash. Simbu has defeated him.
Simbu is done is in a 4th place with 58-48.
By the skin of his teeth. GG's to Simbu, and we'll see if Simbu wants to come in. Meanwhile, I wouldn't be surprised if Moonblaze Wolf is right behind. And I believe we are joined by Simbu, our 4th place finisher, and the first of our featured runners to finish. GG's, Simbu.
Thanks.
So you had a bit of a tricky run that first time with Zeramus. Had some unfortunate, pretty high damage rolls on the Big Bang, but able to make it through the second time. But only just barely. How did you feel about your Zeramus fight?
I was just a little bit tilted when I saw that the pass was in my inventory, and then I wasn't playing very well. I could have, like the first fight, I decided after seeing, oh, I have the pass, to not nuke the person who had wall up, so I killed my healing, and then...
Yeah. If you'll pardon me a moment, we have a done Zyrak in 5th place with a time of 1 hour and 20 seconds.
I was going to rib you a bit on that pass, but it sounded like you already ripped yourself enough for that. So
yeah, it was... I don't know why I didn't mark it off on my tracker. I was trying to mentally go through all the shops, and I couldn't remember buying it or anything, so I didn't even bother checking my inventory, since normally I put it down on my tracker. Just for some reason today I didn't.
Yeah, these things happen, that's for sure. But it was, for the record, it was in the dwarf shop.
Dwarf, okay.
So you did the D machine grind with 2 Rydias at level 1. Is the fact that you were able to slingshot the 2 Rydias, was that your reasoning for doing that instead of any other grind?
Yeah, I mean, D machine is typically a lot faster, especially when you can slingshot. I mean, I only did... I ended up with 24 total kills, I think, but 600,000 EXP, and it only took me, I'm not sure exactly how long, but 5 or 6 minutes after I finally got the fight. I had a little bit of trouble getting the fight too, which was not nice, but...
Yeah, saw a couple of resets in there. But...
If you'll pardon me a moment, we have another done Moonblaze Wolf in 6th place, our second feature runner to finish at 101.52.
So yeah, saw a couple of resets, but then you got there and were able to execute it, and it was 57 levels on each of your Rydias, so that's a lot in one go. So
yeah, I think she needs almost exactly 1.5 million, and if you do the math, it's about 40,000 per D machine, so you want to kill a total of about 12 of them and then get it times 3, so I was able to get double life glitches on 2 of the D machines though, so that's why I get up to 600,000 EXP.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, getting those doubles can sometimes just really be that
Yeah,
area top, you know.
Yeah, it was nice
And-
having a little bit of extra leeway, so I was certain that I was going to be under level.
And Poydrak in 7th place with 103 flat. And I believe that's a Moonblaze Wolf coming in. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. Still shaking a little bit.
And RN Castro 86 in 8th place, 103.36.
So, Simbu, while you're still here, do you have any final run?
No, I think I'm pretty good. I kind of had this seed. I just kind of let it slip through my fingers by getting a little bit tilted at the end. So
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, thanks for letting us watch your race, and I hope you have a good night.
Yep, you too.
All right, Moonblaze Wolf, GG's.
Hey, thanks.
So both you and Simbu decided we're pretty close. You had done a little bit more. You were just a little behind Simbu in getting that crystal and then going for the D machine grind.
Mhm.
So what were you thinking? Is that grind something that you're really comfortable with doing?
Yeah, usually I'm very comfortable doing that even at low levels like that. I knew exactly how many I wanted to kill, and I don't know how closely you all were paying attention, but on the last one, I almost wiped.
Yeah, I saw that you were down to just 2 characters left at one point, and it's like,
I was actually down to 1 hit point.
oh wow, I didn't know that it was that close. I saw that you were pretty close, but at the time I saw you, you had 2 really low characters up, but it was just the searcher. So I'm like, okay, well, you can recover here. That's not going to be a problem. But if you get the rhythm off on that D machine grind, it can definitely be a dangerous fight.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. It was, I don't know why it does that sometimes, but I had like the perfect rhythm for the first like 2/3 of it, and then for the last part, it flipped, and the character that I wanted to have going right before Tello changed.
Yes.
And that just throws it all off because I just had the perfect rhythm going. But you know, I don't try to like set it up that way, so it's one of those things where it's kind of nice when it works anyways. So
yeah, I totally get that. That seems to make perfect sense because it's like you're in a rhythm for like 3 or 4 cycles. Suddenly, the agility, the relative agility, makes it so the character now is before another one, and it's like everything that I'm doing is wrong now.
yeah, so that was pretty like white knuckle, and then just for whatever reason, I don't know why the Z fight got away from me the way that it did, but I almost wiped there too, and I felt really comfortable going into that Z fight. Like I should have just kind of taken it down in like, you know, the 5 or 6 minutes that I'm used to them taking, and it definitely took a little bit longer, and I probably slipped a couple spots because of that. It's kind of frustrating, but overall, I'm really happy with the race.
That's good. You got to keep a good mind on that, otherwise you could go crazy because anybody can make an easy slip up like that, and there's a lot of really good runners in these races.
And Kobahi is about to start his Zeromus fight.
So, do you think you're going to be running in any of the other qualifiers, or is this?
I'll probably do the one tomorrow morning. I will not be able to do the one tomorrow night. So I got one more shot. I'll have to see how the Z scores break down. Maybe a couple people ahead of me will move into the automatic slots, and I'll have a chance from the races today. But
Sure.
It's 2 pretty fast reject seeds. I'm honestly pretty surprised by how fast both the ones went today. Very different in their own ways, but both very, very fast.
Yeah. Well, if you do end up running in that race tomorrow, good luck to you. Any final thoughts while we've got you here?
Thanks, and no, not really. I just I think this was a pretty interesting one. I think that it's easy to screw up the D machine grind, especially when you have to go to 55 or whatever to get rid of a nuke. So it pays to do your homework for sure and make sure you do the right number.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for letting us watch your run tonight, and hope you have a great night, Blaze.
Thanks.
And let's see how. And Kabahi's Zeromus fight, the nuke hits Tella.
That's probably about as ideal as you could get, because you don't really you expect Tella to die, so rather him take the damage than anybody else. And we see the nukes are coming.
And Smapty is coming right down the rabbit hole. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like Smapty was just avoiding Mount Ordeal's flag, and well, the flag. I mean, in the regular sense, not in the boss, the flag, because you don't know where the flag is. And I think the advantage that Kabahi has in this fight here is that without the slingshot effect of the D machine fight, all of his characters are kind of leveled up more or less evenly, and so all of his casters can participate in this reflect strategy.
Yes. And that just means more damage heading Zeromus's way. Or Doromus in this case.
Yeah, Doromus. But decided to go with the hybrid strategy in any case, because we see that Sid is hitting with that axe.
Well, if he doesn't actually need to be throwing out cure potions, he can throw out a little bit of damage.
Well, that's true. However, the key is if you do entirely reflected damage, especially I think it's from like, somebody can correct me, somewhere between like 40,000 and 62,000 damage. And if you're just doing reflected damage from there, then you'll miss the refill HP, and you can take down Zeromus quite a bit faster. And so the fact that a Berserk Sid is throwing axe shots in means that you're going to get that refresh. But at any rate, Kabahi's in the medio phase, so we are almost...
Kabahi's in medio phase, so we're almost through here.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. I mean, this is basically going to be the victory lap here. And this... Oh, that's it. That's the flash.
And that'll do it. Kabahi is... Kabahi.Duns in an official SRL time of 1:11:43.
So GG's to Kabahi, and we'll see if he wants to come in.
That is a 10th place. And right behind him, Error in 11th place with an official time of 1:12:15.
And I believe we are joined by Kabahi. Kabahi, GG's tonight.
Thank you. Definitely wish I did ordeals earlier, but you know.
Yeah, I think almost everybody who didn't do ordeals early is thinking that. So, but that's like one of those places that I know a lot of runners tend to avoid. So it was that gamble, right?
Yeah, like the worst part is generally I don't ignore it, but with what I had been given and the characters I had, I felt like I didn't need to do it.
Yeah, because you didn't get Tella until pretty late in the run, right?
Yeah, I skipped Baron in for a long time too.
Yeah. So, and I think like we saw with Simbu actually did the Baron in relatively early, and then at that point he's got Tella. Might as well go to more deals at that point.
Yeah, and then I kind of messed up the reflex track because I got baited by my own nukes. My first nuke only did like 6.8, so I'm like, oh, okay, I can Berserk Sid and the black hole will take care of it. And then my nuke started doing 9k, and I'm like, well, whatever.
Yeah, so you did hit the refill then, right?
Yeah, basically on Sid's like third attack, it got refilled.
But you ended up succeeding in defeating Zero. That's always a good day, right?
Yeah.
We have a 12th place finisher, Night Dew, in 1:13:46.
So do you plan on in racing in any of the other qualifiers tomorrow for this flag set?
I might be trying to get in the 12, like the noon one, but I'm busy for the night, so we'll see. I came in third in the one earlier. That might get me in on Z-score. I don't know, so...
It's one of these where it's like, I'm not guaranteed, but I'd rather... It might be enough, right?
Exactly. But yeah, like, all in all, like, I think the seed went really well. It was giving us Sid again at the beginning is always helpful, so...
What do you think about these reject percent? Do you think it's a good flag set? Do you like it?
Yeah, I don't mind them. With the T4 on, it makes it usually pretty easy. Usually you can find a weapon or something to get through those early fights and then find a way to get some levels via either sirens or something. So.
All right, and do you have any final thoughts?
Oh, not really. GG to all the other racers and everyone else that's still going, and thanks for your commentary, and Inveterable for doing the restream, and whoever our tracker happens to be tonight.
We have Mary Noko doing the tracking tonight. So.
I don't know. Well, thanks everyone, and I'll see you later.
All right, thank you. So, what do you think about this seed, Stuart? Any final thoughts about this? I will take that as a no. So we just want to. We're gonna go ahead and raid Smapety so that we can wish him luck on the rest of this run. Make sure you give Smapety, Simbu, Moonblaze Wolf, and Kobahi a follow. They were very good runners. Really fun to watch their race tonight. For our restreamer, Invenerable, our tracker, Mary Noko, my co-commentator, DM Stewart, I'm Rex Raoul, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.